Hello everyone. I'm glad to see you today again. Thank you a lot for visiting us and the good whatever time of the day it is in your place. It's afternoon here and I have some chores to do before I start cooking the dinner. But first, I'll grab some tea in peace and quietness before my husband and kids come back home and I'll lose the ability to think straight again because of all the noise. I'll also grab some honey for sweetness and have my tea, and I'm good to go. We have some news. We are going to move from this place in a couple of weeks. I know it might sound surprising for you, but we've been looking for a new place for a couple of months now. And since we have three little children and two cats, it's been quite a struggle to find a place whose landlord will be fine about us renting it. But we found one cozy but simple apartment, and now it's time for all the moving processes, cleaning, packing, moving, cleaning again, unpacking, etc. All of that most people hate, but I actually enjoy packing and unpacking. It's one of the fun activities for me. I'm not excited about cleaning, especially cleaning somebody else's apartment, but it's part of the process, so what can I do? Today we aren't doing any of that yet. Today is one of the peaceful days before it all starts, and I want to soak up the last days in this place that we called home for quite a while actually. We've been living here for a year and a couple of months. Our rent agreement expired in August, although in fact we don't have any rent agreement on paper. But it's another topic for discussing interesting Georgian cultural moments. So maybe next time, not now. So technically, I mean our verbal agreement with the landlord that we haven't seen since the moment she gave us the keys. So she's a very nice landlord. Since our rent agreement is kind of expired, we've been thinking about staying longer or moving to a new place. I'll talk about why we thought about that and why we eventually decided to move. But right now, I want to talk about local moving and renting practices because they're so different all around the world, and I know you guys are watching this from all around the world, which is absolutely fascinating to me. But I just want to share how it is going here. I live in the country Georgia, in between Turkey, Armenia, and Russia and Azerbaijan. So here the practice is similar to most post-Soviet countries. It is similar to what we've experienced living in Russia, but I've noticed that it might sound very different from maybe some European countries or some Western countries, maybe in like North or South America. Moving is a pretty simple process here. It can take literally one day to rent an apartment, and then it all depends on how much stuff you have to pack, how clean you want your new apartment to be, how clean you want to leave your old place. And we don't have that much stuff considering we're a family of five. I hope we still don't have that much stuff because we've been living here for a year and a couple of months, and I haven't been decluttering much while living here. I've decluttered our toys one time, but everything else was kind of slowly accumulating. So I hope we still don't have much stuff because I like to be very minimal with our, well, not very minimal, but quite minimal with our possessions. Anyway, we don't have that much stuff as we could have. So I also can pack and move from place to place in one day. New apartment is also fully furnished, so we will sell some of the furniture we bought here. It's not common here to rent empty apartments, so it's almost impossible to find them on the market. Like every apartment you're looking at is furnished usually. It's very rare to find empty apartments. Usually landlords furnish their apartments they want to rent before posting them online if they bought like a new empty apartment. or they just rent their old apartment they used to live in, so it also has their old furniture, most of the time dishes, sometimes decor. Some are more on the minimalistic side, but still usually have furniture and all the basic, like furniture pieces. In my practice and all of my friends' practices, it's almost impossible to convince the landlord to take away at least some of their stuff, even decor, because usually they also live in the apartment and they don't have any extra space to store the extra furniture there, so they just leave everything in that apartment they want to rent, or they furnished it in order to rent it, so they don't take away anything from there. And this practice has some pros and cons, obviously, because the good thing is you don't have to buy any furniture, which makes it much easier to move. That's why people move easily here, and it's quite normal for people to move quite often, I would say, in search for a better place. Like they can leave for half of the year, for a year, for a couple of years, depending on their plans and agreement. But it's okay to move from place to place. Especially, it's convenient if you change your job and now it's more convenient for you to live in the different city area, so you're moving, or the place you lived in had some downsides that you haven't been aware of when you were renting it, and etc etc. Usually people always can find some kind of reasons to move to a better place. And then you also save money on furniture, right? You don't have to buy it, so it's very easy, and it's saving you money. But the downside is that you use others people furniture, and quite often it might not be your style, you might not like it that much. Apartments with super cute designs and apartments that are nicely furnished, like Pinterest looking, they usually cost like a spaceship because they are immediately considered the designer's fancy apartments. So most of the time, the ones you can rent would not be 100% your style or your aesthetics, or you just might not like some of the pieces. And usually landlords don't agree on any renovations that you ask about, so you can only use the place as it is most of the time. If you remember my viral video about our old Russian apartment we've been renting, many of you have seen it. So there were many comments saying that we should just ask the landlord to take away the old Soviet wardrobes and just paint the walls and it would look cute. Yeah, but it's not how it works here. 99% of the landlords don't agree on any changes in the apartment, and they don't take the furniture away, as I said. So usually people just rent the nicest place they can afford and the place they at least liked somehow, and then they move to a better one if they can, or when they can, to a more convenient one, or the one that has cuter style, or move to their own property if they bought one, which usually solves all the rent problems with all of that furniture and style and decor and all the rest. But buying your own place, it's not everybody can do that, or at least it takes some time. So as I said, you're using other people's furniture, and again, it might not be your cup of tea if, for example, you're slightly germophobic like me. I'm fine, visiting my friend's house and staying there for like a night or so. But if I'm renting randoms people place and I'm using their sofa and I'm not super comfortable about that, like I want it to be clean. So I usually have to order chemical cleaning for every soft piece of furniture in the new place. It's like extra investment I have to do every time just for my peace of mind. And thankfully it's quite affordable here. I've ordered it already for a new place. Yeah, it's another like little downside, but in general it's still fun to not have a need to buy all the furniture right away, because some people might not be able to afford it, or just don't want to think about it and just want to move into the place and live there right away. This apartment we've been living in, was also furnished, but it was so run down. Furniture was so old and ugly that it was worth burning it down. So our landlord agreed that we can replace it with whatever we want. And we bought these secondhand couches and tables that were low cost, but they were much better than what was here. And we painted the walls again because our landlord didn't care, because of how bad the condition of this apartment was. So it was one of the rare moments when the landlord didn't care what we do with the apartment, because it couldn't get any worse basically. We will leave these couches and tables for our landlord here, because it was a replacement of the old ones, but everything else we bought, like bed, wardrobes, and etc., will sell before moving to the new place. New apartment has it all, and it's already pretty crowded with furniture, so I don't want to make it worse, and I'm going to take only the bare minimum of furniture we have, like the basic essentials, the kids' beds and the kids' chairs, because the new apartment obviously don't have the kids stuff. I prefer a more minimalist lifestyle, and it's always hard for me to find an apartment that is not crowded with furniture and landlord's decor. But I always try to not be too strict when I search for a new place, because honestly it almost never fits all of my expectations and wishes. So I usually try to be thankful with whatever fits at least some of them, maybe like the location, the price, the square meters, and maybe some apartment features. So why did we decide to move since we invested some time and money in this space? Well, first, the rent cost of this place was super cheap. So the price difference between renting in a more expensive place that would be a little better and this place, and investing in renovating some parts of it, it was kind of the same. It beat the cost of our little investment, so it is not a big deal for us that we put some effort to make this place cozier. Then rent prices went down, and now we can rent a place in a more desirable location for us, which will be more convenient for us to live in. It's a more expensive location to live in, so we can rent the place there and it would work out for us now. My husband spends more than 2 hours almost daily on driving, and such a big waste of time and money on gas, and he comes late, and yeah, it's super inconvenient and upsetting. And now we can move to the place which is in the walkable distance to every place we need, or at least like 5-10 minutes drive, and it would very much upgrade our life quality, like significantly, just the location itself. So basically it's the main reason. As a side bonus, new place has much better kitchen as well. It's a little old too, but it is in much better condition than this one. It has a nice stove and bigger fridge, and it would be just much more comfortable to use it daily. It also has 2 fully separate bedrooms, unlike this space, which technically has 2 bedrooms as well, but one is a walk-through room, and we end up not using it much because it's in between living room and bedroom, and it's inconvenient to use, and it also doesn't have any windows. So now it's a storage room and a kids' playroom at the same time. But kids play everywhere anyway, so we don't really need a separate playroom for them. In the new place, we plan to use one of bedrooms as our oldest daughter personal bedroom, But we'll see how it goes when we move. We're not sure it will work out yet, but I think it would. At least she's excited about having a nice room of her own. Again, there are already two big beds in each of the bedroom in the new place, and the landlord can't take any of them away, so I don't know if our 5-year-old will be comfortable sleeping on the queen size bed, but I guess she would. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see when we move and when we start unpacking and figuring out what is more convenient for us. Unfortunately, we won't have our beautiful windows anymore and these high ceilings, which is a bit heartbreaking for me because I just love them. I love waking up and looking at these windows every day and having lunch and looking at these windows, having that view and this so much air in this space because of high ceilings. But the benefits of moving to the new place kind of exceed this aesthetic features significantly. I'm excited that the new place has an elevator. It might not sound as a significant thing, but here we have 4 stores with high ceilings without elevator, and it's been a little bit of a struggle to go up and down being pregnant, and to go up and down with little children is pretty hard, especially if I'm by myself, because 2 of my children can't walk down the stairs and up yet. So the new place has an elevator, and I think it would make my life easier as well. I'm quite excited about this move, and I hope we'll like the new place. I hope the neighbors would be nice. We're praying for that place to be cozy and comfortable and to be nice for us as a family. If you've been watching my videos for a while, then you'd probably remember that we are waiting for our immigration process to go forward to move to another country, and we hope that we will move before the end of this year. But as always, this immigration processes, all of this bureaucratic stuff, it takes so long. It takes longer than we expected. It took longer than anybody who we now expected. So we are still waiting, and God only knows when the process will be finished. So we decided not to rely on this too much because we've already waited for so long, and just change the apartment for convenience while we can and while we're still waiting, instead of staying here and waiting and waiting and waiting and wasting that time and money on driving and not having these more convenient features that the new place can offer. So yeah, immigration process is going, but it's a long one, and we're kind of try to not think daily about it, to have a peace of mind. But anyway, today I wanted to film a simple evening of doing basic home chores. Especially I wanted to get a glimpse into every room here, to remember this place that we called home for quite a while. Our apartment is like a caterpillar, at least what I call it. You enter the corridor with the bathroom on the side, then goes the kitchen, then the living room, then the first door and the room that doesn't have any windows, and that is a go-through room, which is right now a storage space. It's like a closet or like a wardrobe room, and the children's playroom at the same time. And then from that room goes the door to our bedroom. So the bedroom is the only fully separated room here in this apartment. Today I'm changing the bed sheets in our bedroom. I'm putting away the laundry, children's toys, papers that have accumulated on our wardrobes. Like a lot of stuff have accumulated on our wardrobes recently. I have some chicken, and I have butter, not butter, sour cream from the village. Yay! So yeah, I'm going to cook some chicken and vegetables and some rice. And the sun came out. I'm cooking a simple but pretty tasty dinner today. I started with chicken. I usually like to bake it like that for about an hour, but today I decided to cook it in a big pan or like a pot. I slightly marinated chicken in sour cream, salt, pepper, and I added cameli sonelli, which is a Georgian popular spice mix. And I know it's a funny name, but Georgians like to add it in many meals. And basically, it contains coriander and different dry herbs. So it's very similar to other popular spice mixes around the world that go well with chicken. You know, there are different spice mixes in different cultures. I used to make this type of chicken with just salt and pepper, but I noticed that Melisonelli adds a little bit of extra flavor, which I like. I stewed chicken with chopped onions and garlic, and I added some water and cooked it till it was ready. But honestly, a baked version I like a little bit more because on top of the chicken, it creates a little tasty crust on the chicken skin. And when you stew it in the pot, it doesn't have a crust. I think also cream usually goes well when you cook a chicken in the pot like that instead of sour cream, but I often use sour cream in recipes like that because I almost always have it at home and it's easier for me than going and buying cream separately, which I usually don't use for anything else.
Вот это баклажан,
Угу.
а это каучук.
Это баклажан. И грибочки мне еще нужны.
Грибушки все?
Нет, давай 5.
Вот 5. Это 5.
Положи у тебя?
Ага. Все 5.
Угу, спасибо. I also roasted some veggies today with a bit of soy sauce and lemon juice sprinkled over. And I took the basic veggies that are sold locally like onions, carrots, zucchinis, eggplants, mushrooms. I'll add rice to that combo, which I think makes the perfect evening meal altogether.
Ой, даже собачка, даже за собачку, даже за кошечку. Дедушка, ты что делаешь? Иди сюда. Все. Книжку посомана. Я возьму.
So thank you a lot guys for being here today, for listening to me talking for so long and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.